Hello and welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. The California legislature passed the state budget on time this year in June, but does that mean we can not have to think about it for another year? Well, no, says our next guest, Mike Morrell, Assemblyman. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
So we passed the budget, but I have a feeling right when you go back to Sacramento, it's one of the first things you're going to start taking up again.
Not sure in that, but you know, I was on the budget committee, and there were a few things that concerned me. I remember, I believe it was page 3 of the governor's budget. There was a number of terms he used. For an example, we had approximately a $25 billion deficit, and $6.1 billion of it was to be realigned. And so essentially what realignment means is you take the debts the state has and you realign or send it to the local municipalities, let them deal with it, which really isn't eliminating your debt, it's just sort of passing it down the line to someone else. And then there was some legitimate budget cuts, but my estimation there's probably somewhere between 13 and 17 billion that was either realigned, transferred, borrowed, or shifted, like shifting money from Proposition 10 over into the general fund and that type of thing. And so what that does, that does not really eliminate your debt. That's like if you have a credit card of $20,000 and you go get another credit card to pay that one off, you can say, well, I've eliminated my debt with this card here, but the reality of it is you're still in debt. And that's sort of where the state is. Plus, we've had sort of some concerning news. Unemployment last month went up just a little bit in California, and our revenues are not going up as what our governor and the Democratic legislature had predicted. They somehow forecasted, and I'm not sure what the methodology they use, but they had anticipated an extra and above $4 billion in revenues, which it doesn't appear at this point it's even going to come close to that.
So if that's the case, where from here?
So then what happens, we could have dug our hole deeper. And boy, I'm certainly don't mean to be the bearer of bad news. I'm a little bit of a short-term pessimist right now, but I am a long-term optimist. We will work this out because the good citizens of California will demand that. But we're going to have another challenging year next year in the state of California with pressure on services, because the revenues aren't there.
It doesn't seem like Democrats and Republicans have been getting along locally on the state level or the national level, and it seems if there's not a time constraint, as was the budget, they had to do it in June this time, and then the debt ceiling, they had to raise it in time. Nothing seems to get done.
Well, things are getting done, but not good things. In fact, bad things. But you have essentially today, it's growing. There is a big divide because you have two competing different ideologies. You have free market guys, supply side economics people like myself, and then basically you have progressives or the Keynesian economics believe in the expansion of government, raise taxes solves the problems. But yet historically, we have about 5,000 years of recorded history. That's never worked. You can look at the former Soviet Union all the way to today's Greece and that type of thing. As government expands, liberty contracts, and freedom and prosperity soon cease to exist.
Well, recently you had a business and economic summit.
Yes.
What came out of that?
Well, what happens, and instead of, you know, quite often there's seminars where you have think tank people or perhaps college professors given their forecasts for what's going to happen to the economy. So what I decided to do is bring in entrepreneurs, business owners, manufacturers, and come to testify to city council people, me, the state representative, as well as one of our county supervisors, and just express these guys are in the trenches, these folks. What can California do to help business, to create jobs, which will expand this circle of economic prosperity? And the overwhelming thing that came out of that meeting yesterday was, number one, government, get out of our way.
A great place to end this. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But
reduce regulation.
Reduce regulation. This is the place where things move through here.
It does. Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks. And stay with us. More HLN.